Good morning, Dr. Richardson. We appreciate having you on the show. In the social media era, a lot of people are crediting advancements in cell phones and citizen journalists for documenting instances of police brutality. How big of a role has that played in moving the conversation forward and bringing about change?
It's been an incredible journey in terms of smartphone witnessing. These kinds of videos actually credence and give proof to what many African Americans knew for a very long time, that police brutality is persistent in our society. And with these kinds of smartphone videos, we now have the proof that to move the needle forward on conversations about that brutality. One of the things that's quite alarming, though, is that they're being shown quite casually. And I'm concerned in my research with the effects that that has on the broader public.
And speaking of that, I want to further ask you, what is some of the mental trauma that can occur, particularly for people of color, from seeing Black people repeatedly dying tragic deaths on screen?
Yes, well, one of the things that I found in writing my book, Bearing Witness While Black, is that there actually been 3 overlapping eras of domestic terror against Black people. And that has been slavery, which given way to lynching, which has given way to what we have now. And through each of those eras, we've had Black witnesses use the technologies of their day to speak out about those injustices.
And Dr. Richardson, cases regarding police brutality and race garner divisive responses, but there seems to be collective outrage over the deaths of Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd from across the political spectrum. What do you think is different? Are views on this topic changing in this country?
I think it's different this time because everyone recognizes that African Americans were fighting 2 wars at once before we even got a chance to mourn our loved ones from the disproportionate effects of COVID-19. African Americans then had to look back and say, is this going to be what returning to normal after pandemic looks like, getting back to the business of police brutality? And I think seeing these videos juxtaposed so closely together, by seeing Ahmaud Arbery first, by not having footage of Breonna Taylor, we should say the women's names too, and by then having this footage of George Floyd, it reminds me a lot of 2016 all over again, when we had the death of Alton Sterling first and then Philando Castile a day later. And so a lot of African Americans are tired, and this time there's a multi-ethnic coalition that says, yes, we're tired with you. I think the tipping point, the additional footage of Amy Cooper in Central Park actually wielding white supremacy in a way that could have been fatal to Christian Cooper, who was the bird watcher there. So all of these elements together, witnessed through smartphone, give us a front row seat to some of the hypocrisies that existed pre-COVID and what we'll have to deal with after COVID.
Our thanks to Dr. Richardson for that perspective. She also talks about this movement to combat white silence, silence being complicit in upholding the system of racial inequality. And we're seeing that. We're seeing very diverse crowds take to the streets to say Black Lives Matter, to say that enough is enough. And also not just on the streets, but in social media as well. We're seeing celebrities of all backgrounds come out and take a stance, companies as well.
As she said, there's a multicultural coalition, and there's been a tipping point that we have seen here.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.